Bringing you up to the minute and relevant news in local and international maritime trade, this is Nimasa This Week. Hello and welcome. My name is Iretiola Doyle. In its quest to provide a clean, safe and secure maritime domain, the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Nimasa, has entered into a partnership with the Nigerian Air Force to exploit its statutory supremacy in securing our waterways from the air. Earlier this week, a maritime stakeholders sensitization conference was organized in Lagos to further harness the existing relationship between the agency and the Nigerian Air Force. The Director General of Nimasa, Mr. Ziakede Patrick Apobrukemi, who was present at the event, seized the opportunity to reassure Nigerians that the collaboration between the agency and the Nigerian Air Force would have a positive effect on the nation's economy due to the resolve of the administration of Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan to fight crime on the nation's waterways. Amanda Akpan, our waterways correspondent, was present at the conference and reports.
In a bid to ensure improved security on the nation's coast and continue in its strive to make Nigeria a maritime nation, the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency and the Nigerian Air Force had been into partnership to tackle notable challenges militating against safe and secure shipping in Nigeria. The partnership was strengthened recently at the two-day Maritime Stakeholders Sensitization Conference organized to underscore the partnership between Nimasa and the Nigerian Air Force. Representing the Minister of Transport, Senator Idris Umar, at the conference, the Director of Maritime Safety and Security at the Ministry of Transport, Mr. Danjuma Dauda, commended the collaboration between the two agencies and urged them to sustain the tempo in making the Nigerian waterways safe for shipping activities. Assuring Nigerians that the partnership between the agency and the Nigerian Air Force would have positive impact on the nation's economy by attracting investment opportunities and also creating jobs for the teeming population, the Director General of Nimasa, Mr. Ziakede Patrick Apobrukemi, explained that since inception of the partnership, the agency had recorded tremendous successes in the area of air and coastal surveillance.
If the Nigerian Air Force, enabled by the Constitution of Nigeria, has these necessary conditions that can assist us in the search and rescue efforts, in maritime safety or pursuit, name them, why don't we collaborate with them instead of having the air operations man and managed like Nimasa?
He also said that the nation's maritime safety will be further strengthened by the statutory role of the Nigerian Air Force in defending the territorial integrity of the nation by air through their ATR-42 Maritime Patrol Aircraft MPA and other platforms.
We do know that the Air Force owns ATR-42 Maritime Patrol Aircraft and other platforms that are necessary for search and rescue operations, for air surveillance that can bring about safety and security in the maritime domain. And I'm also happy that of recent the Air Force is boosting its capabilities by acquiring more and more platforms, courtesy of the President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan.
Speaking in the same vein, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Adeshola Amosu, who was represented by the Chief Training and Operations at the Nigerian Air Force, Air Vice Marshal Adeboale Odunlade, pledged the total support of the Nigerian Air Force to work with Nimasa in respect to the goals the MOU was set to achieve.
The Nigerian Air Force remains resolute in providing the needed airborne assets to conduct surveillance and reconnaissance, search and rescue, tactical airlift operations, and enforcement actions, if necessary, in support of Nimasa's objective as enshrined in the Nimasa Act 2007. Reiterating the commitment of the Nigerian Air Force to actualizing this memorandum of understanding to its fullest. I must also congratulate the Director General of Nimasa for hosting this conference.
Barrister Matthew Egbadon, then gave a presentation on legality of the Memorandum of Understanding and its protocol. Also speaking at the conference, the Director Shipping Development at Nimasa, Captain Waridi Eniswo, presented the paper on Nimasa's satellite coastal radar-based surveillance system. At the end of the conference, the Director General of Nimasa, Mr. Ziakede Patrick Akpobulakaimi, spoke to us on existing collaboration between Nimasa and other government security agencies.
The Navy is one of our key stakeholders. Generally, the armed forces, we have cooperation with all of them, the police, the Navy, the Army, the Air Force. So this is one of the very useful collaborations that we should be interested in.
Satisfied with the bold step Nimasa has taken to ensure that sea robbery, piracy and other criminal activities in the nation's territorial waters are curbed, stakeholders present at the conference spoke highly of the Director General of Nimasa and his towering initiatives.
I'm happy to be here. You are doing a great job for the country. I'll tell you, we as the operators in the oil industry, we are operating, vessels move subject to escorts being available. As it is now, I can see with time, I'm sure it's a work in progress. With time, we are going actually to take it to the next step, where people will operate 24 hours.
Marine notice from the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Nimasa. To all ship owners, all ship operators, all masters of ships, all boat operators, all ship agents. Medical advice on Ebola virus. Notice is hereby given that there has been reported cases of individuals infected with Ebola virus, particularly within some Western African countries, and confirmed cases in Nigeria. Vessel owners and operators are required to 1. Report sick or diseased crew or passengers on board within the last 26 days to Nimasa Port Health Services. 2. Masters should inform Nimasa's officers boarding their vessels of any ill person on board. Some points to note concerning Ebola virus. 1. Crew or persons could be infected if they come into contact with blood or body fluid from somebody who is sick or has died from Ebola. Sick wildlife or bushmeat from infected animals. Healthcare personnel caring for Ebola patients, family, friends in close contact with ill person are at high risk. 2. Symptoms include fever, headache, joint and muscle pains, sore throat and weakness, followed by diarrhea, vomiting and stomach pain, skin rashes, red eyes, and internal and external bleeding by patients. 3. Sanitizers should be placed on board and hands should be washed regularly on contact with any external objects or persons. 4. Crew or persons should monitor their health status in the last 25 days if their vessels has been in an area with an Ebola virus outbreak. Be warned, Ebola virus is real. Signed, Management.
The essence of the sanitizer is to keep our people safe, is to be alert so that this deadly Ebola virus should not have inroad into Nigeria or any part of the country.
If you want to stay alive, you encourage yourself. But we are just trying to give you opportunity and showing you means of to make it easier for you. This is a sanitizer. All you need to do is just put your hand under. It's there. You know? So we expect that everybody should have this, maybe in front of his house, maybe in front of the office.
The safety of human beings is also number one for us. We really want to also encourage every person to be safety conscious.
We are a very responsive agency, and in line with the consciousness and the directive of Mr. President and the health officials, we are doing the best we can within human possibilities to contain the virus.
The Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency has given a practical demonstration of how its synergy with the Nigerian Air Force will enhance security on the nation's waterways. On a tour of the Nigerian Air Force aircraft in Lagos on Tuesday, the DG of Nimasa, Mr. Ziakede Patrick Akpobulukemi, stated that the effectiveness of the aircraft as well as the satellite surveillance system in fighting crime on our waterways cannot be overemphasized. Once again, our correspondent Rachel Ubani reports.
The day 2 of the event to celebrate the collaboration between the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency Nimasa and the Nigerian Air Force NAF was the air show. Maritime operators, stakeholders and journalists converged on the Nigerian Air Force base on a tour of the ATR-42 Maritime Patrol aircraft to witness a practical demonstration of the capability of the high-tech equipment and the satellite surveillance system in fighting crime on the waterways. Flying as far as 1,500 feet above sea level, moving at 160 nautical miles, a technical member of the crew and the Director Shipping Development, Captain Waridi Eniswo, were on hand to explain the functionality of the equipment.
This is the live movie. As he's using his camera, we'll be watching here. He's not using it now because the speed of the aircraft is high now. Then we also have the video recorder. Green situation is record everything you have. You can see Nimasa 19th August 14th. Is there.
Every ship has got its own unique identity. So that now tells you what ships are within the river. We have that same information on ground. But because you see this is an aircraft, there's limited amount of equipment you can carry. But out there on ground, we can carry all the books and all the paperwork and all the internet service and check whether legally those ships are supposed to be in our water.
The Director General and Chief Executive Officer Nimasa, Mr. Ziakede Patrick Akpobulukemi, talks about the MOU with the Air Force and the effectiveness of the facilities.
For the pirates, they should either repent or go elsewhere. For some other persons who are flouting our laws, days ahead are going to be so rough. The world is electronic. We are going to combine all these facilities they have with what we have. The satellite system we have, the radar system we are building, and the sky is going to be the beginning, not the beginning. No, the collaboration has been ongoing. We just want the public to know this. That is why we are doing this today. We just want the world to know. We are not talking tigers, we are acting tigers.
Captain Waridi Eniswo shed more light on the capability of the aircraft and the satellite surveillance system.
Crime comes without warning. So, we need speed. And in effect, this is it. So we need something that is going to quickly go out there, reference the situation and surprise the situation. And that's what this machine is meant for.
He also talks about the essence of the MOU.
Known for quite a whole lot of things, and once in a while it's negative, but however now you can see that there is more positive to the negative. We want to ensure that people feel very safe to come and do business in our waters, and once people feel that things are very, very safe, it's going to increase jobs as well. So you can see that it's not just the crime aspect of it, it's also the economy that matters to us in this particular operation. People don't do businesses in unsafe environments. They do business in very safe environments, and that's what we are trying to do.
Group Captain Bakari, the Air Force Desk Officer for the Air Force Nimasa MOU, explains the workability of the collaboration.
Like earlier stated, we've had a long working relationship with Nimasa, and it has always been on Nimasa's request to ask the Air Force for assistance, which we've always offered. So in essence, what we've done today is just to formalize and make everything official. And I believe with this MOU, you would see more changes in terms of security and safety, positive changes in the maritime environment.
The head public relations Nimasa, Mr. Isichei Osangwi, further emphasizes the significance of the partnership.
The partnership will enable us to work together with this aircraft. We'll go out there at sea, complement what we have in terms of the surveillance, satellite surveillance equipment, and our relationship with the Navy, where we have the MOU. So you could see it's a whole mixture of several apparatus to fight the general belief of crime on our waters.
The event climaxed with a most spectacular sight as one of the aircraft pierced the skies, carrying the flag of the MOU between Nimasa and the Air Force.
When we assumed office, we were confronted with the problem of having the qualified surveyors, and a deliberate action was taken to redress the situation. Today, we've made significant improvements, but we are going to continue to improve. We have gone a step further to sponsor over 2,500 cadets in different parts of the world. We should demonstrate to the law our resolve that we are not only just going to be talking tigers, paper tigers, we are going to be action tigers too. So whatever we say, we implement. Whatever we conceptualize, we put into practical reality. So that people should know that the days where the Maritime Administration was seen as a contract awarding agency to a full-fledged regulatory agency.
The NIWA ICE 2014 exhibition and conference went into a technical session on the second day of proceedings. This brought together intellectuals and experts from the maritime sector and government security agencies to brainstorm and proffer solutions to the twin issues of security and economic threats on Nigeria's inland waterways. The session was chaired by the DG of Nimasa, Mr. Ziakede Pachika-Pubulokemi, who was represented by the Director of Safety and Seafarer Standards at Nimasa, Engineer Vincent Udoye. Once again, our waterways correspondent, Amanda Akban, reports.
Guide our leaders right. Help our youth.
As part of measures to finding a roadmap for repositioning and improving activities on the inland waterways in Nigeria, stakeholders and intellects converged to find a lasting solution to curb security threats on the Nigerian inland waterways on the second day of the NIWA ICE 2014 exhibition and conference put together by the Nigerian Inland Waterway Authority (NIWA), which was aimed at dialoguing and exchanging ideas as to the sustainability, safety and utilization of Nigeria's inland waterways, including the tourism potentials needed for the growth and development of the Nigerian economy. The Director General of Nimasa, Mr. Ziakede Pachika-Pubulokemi, who was ably represented by the Director of Maritime Safety and Seafarer Standard at Nimasa, Engineer Vincent Udoye, chaired the technical session of the event on behalf of the Director General of Nimasa.
We have full satellite surveillance. We can spot any vessel, even a tiny vessel. That is the only way we can know what is happening in our domain, in our maritime domain. So I think if we also need to secure inland waterways and full potential, we need to exploit surveillance technology. It is going to be of tremendous help.
Dwelling on security as a tool for securing inland waterways for sustainable economic ventures, Major General E.J. Atewe, the first speaker of the session, underscored the importance of inland waterways to the development of the economy and listed the several advantages of inland water transportation over other mode of transportation.
It is cheaper and safer, particularly for bulky cargoes. Apart from its use for transportation since primitive times, as noted by Bocha, water has remained an excellent source of food and revenue. Inland waterways, which encapsulates safely navigable lakes, rivers, canals, channels, and lagoons that open into ocean also offer opportunities for tourists, recreation sites, job creation, domestic and industrial water. It also consumes less energy and emits fewer greenhouse gases.
He, however, solicited for collaboration between various government security agencies to help fight insecurity in Nigeria inland waterways. The second speaker of the technical session, Dr. Nnamdi Ilodiuba, recommended the HEMP element, that is, hazard and event management process for safety in the utilization of inland waterway in the country in order to fully enhance the potentials of Nigerian inland waterways.
This is an important first step to take to ensure that anticipated economic benefits that could be derived from using inland waterways for transportation are achieved. When safety is assured, a workforce is constantly available for production. Assets are also conserved and losses are prevented. The result is assured anticipated profit, which ensures job security and increased tax revenue to the benefit of the organization itself, the employees, the government, and the citizenry. This can be appreciated when one considers the value of lives and assets.
A participant at the conference, Jim Chiazo, advised NIWA to emulate Nimasa by collaborating with the Nigerian Navy, Nigerian Army, and the Nigerian Air Force to curb insecurity, piracy, and sea robbery in Nigerian territorial waters.
So I would like to advise the NIWA to do just like Nimasa is doing, have an MOU with Nigerian Navy, and let's see the patrol boats. Let's see that there is some physical sign of security, and I'm sure that when we talk about the PPP later today, we'll have a lot of investors coming to invest in our waterways.
As a responsible agency conscious of its mandate as the apex maritime regulatory body in Nigeria, Nimasa was present at the NIWA ICE 2014 exhibition and conference. Speaking at the conference, Engineer Vincent Tudoe used the opportunity to talk on the Nimasa satellite surveillance system used for tracking any vessels that come into Nigerian territorial waters. Engineer Vincent Tudoe then spoke about Nimasa's support to sister agencies like NIWA in order for them to achieve their statutory mandates.
Nimasa, as the apex regulatory agency of this nation, Nimasa as the major safety agency of Nigeria, we had to be there because wherever safety and security issues are discussed, people want to hear Nimasa's point of view. And as you could see, most of the discussants there were asking NIWA to emulate Nimasa, what Nimasa has done. Because in terms of maritime security, they all acknowledge that Nimasa has been able to achieve tremendous success in terms of maritime security.
This is the stand of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Nimasa. Of course, Nimasa has not just shown that she's a responsible agency when it comes to maritime administration in Nigeria, but she's willing to support sister agencies such as NIWA as she participates in the NIWA ICE 2014 exhibition and conference. Amanda Akpan, Nimasa This Week.
Up next is the news segment of Nimasa This Week.
UN agency develops a mandatory international code of safety for ships. Ships operating in the North and South Poles will have to follow a mandatory international code of safety being developed by a UN agency. The Polar Code is being drafted by the International Maritime Organization (IMO). It covers all aspects of polar navigation for international shipping, including design, construction, equipment, seafarer training, search and rescue protocols, and environmental protection matters.
Once again, we went trawling through our email box and we bring you answers to questions that we have determined to be some of the most frequently asked on our show. And this week, we begin like this.
Our frequently asked question for this week is, what was the reason behind the introduction of the Nimasa Port State Control Badge? Captain Ezekiel Bala Agaba, the Executive Director, Maritime Safety and Shipping Development at Nimasa, obliged us with an answer.
The badge is just a form of authorization that the holder of this badge is authorized by the agent to board any vessel within the Nigerian territorial waters, both for flag stay inspection and for port trade. Also, the ISPS group also have the same badge, which authorizes them to go to any of the port facilities for inspection and verification. There are situations people report that surveyors come on board and they say, where are you from? Say, you are Nimasa. And then we'll find out that some of them are not actually accredited Nimasa surveyors. So without this, the vessel can actually refuse the man on board because it's not authorized to board the vessel.
And so we come to the end of our show. Now, please don't forget, Nimasa this week is interactive. We want to respond to your comments, your questions, and sometimes even your criticisms. All you need to do is send an email to the address currently showing on your screen. Now, I'm going to be here, same time, same station next week. Until then, we're wishing you smooth sailing and bon voyage.